So today I'm going to look at some random Google My Business listings on the map. I'm just going to then just comment on what I see. So in effect, it's a kind of a bit like an audit or a critique, but at the same time, I'm just going to take 5 random places and 5 random businesses. So hopefully if I cover a business that's your business, you'll perhaps pick up a few tips and tricks along the way. If I do cover your business, then please don't take it personally, because I've got no idea which businesses I'll be covering. It's quite random. So I'm going to pick a place in England. I'm going to take Oxford. So we've got Oxford and Cambridge. Let's just take Oxford for now. So if I type in Oxford and I'll go for a dentist. So Oxford and dentist. Let's see what comes up. Okay, so Oxford dentist. So we've got these couple here are pay for adverts. So they're paying for that. So what do we notice? You notice first of all that dentist clinic, but dentist and dentist are 2 of the types of entrances when it comes to categories. In fact, most of these seem to be dentist clinic. So we've got dentist here as well. So if you are a dentist in that area, you need to think, is dental clinic more descriptive than just dentist? So there must be a reason why one puts the other. So just consider that. What else do we notice here? Spent hours calling different dentists. So you've got comments coming through here. So these generally get picked up. So when you do have some reviews, like this has got 4.5, then it sometimes will just randomly pick a thought. Notice it's got the keyword dentist in here and keyword dentist in here. So I've got no idea what's behind these. Let's just have a look at one of these. Okay, that's taking me to the website, which I didn't want to do. What I want to do is just get, let's click on that. That's that. Okay, so what can we see here? So you can suggest an edit. Anyone can do that. So it's worth bearing in mind that people do sometimes come along and change things. It doesn't necessarily mean it goes live, because it then needs to be approved by Google. But this looks like it's pretty much set out. It's got most of the details. They've really given quite a lot of detail to the opening hours, the address and so on. They've got their own website and so on. So that's looking pretty good. And they obviously have this managed, so they've claimed it. They've even got questions and answers, which is really important to get some of those things in, because it gets the keywords and it also shows the importance of that. They've got quite a lot of photos. So people have submitted photos and they've submitted their own, and that's a lot of reviews, and that's good. And actually they say that if you get between 4.5 and 5, then that's going to be considered very authentic, which is one of the reasons why it comes up very close to the top. So this is the top one because these 2 are paying for it. So that's relevant to bear in mind. What do? They've responded as well. So when they get comments, they respond. So that looks pretty good. They've got a profile on LinkedIn, which is good as well. So there's a lot of good things here. So they're doing a lot of things right. Let's see if we can find one that's not perhaps doing things so well. So here we've got Oxford Dentist. Now that is the perfect business name, but let's see what's behind it. So if it genuinely is the Oxford Dentist, and that's their business name, then they could really take advantage of this, because they haven't even claimed it. Own this business? It's just a question mark. So clearly that's not been claimed. There's no business hours and website added. I mean, this is coming up really high. It's got no reviews. It barely seems to exist at all. And yet there it is. So if that is your business, then if you claim that, you could probably go straight to the top. And that's a phenomenal business name, Oxford Dentist, because that is exactly what I've just searched for, and that's why it's coming up there. And that just shows the importance of having a name in the if you can include the keywords in the name of the business, and you can do it properly and legally, then that's great too. Okay, so that's Oxford Dentist. So let's try something totally different. So let's come out and let's look for another random place. So let's go Leicester. Okay, so let's try Leicester. And we'll go for, say, the florists in Leicester. Let's see if there's any florists in Leicester. So I say no idea what's going to come up. It's totally random. So we've got one advert for that. So we've got florist, 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 florist. So clearly if you're a florist, then you would come under the category of florist. That's very clear. So that's good. That's good to see. What have we got here? No reviews, wedding flowers, Leicester. So in this case, it's owned because it doesn't say to click on it. They just haven't really optimized it. So they've not really taken care of adding a website. So if they had a website, that would help. They've not got any questions. They could ask their own questions. There's nothing wrong in asking some FAQs. So people might say, you know, do you do special flowers for Easter, or do you do flowers for Valentine's? Or there might be, you know, what type of prices do you charge for a wreath? Or, you know, there's all sorts of things that they could ask, and that would be something to consider as well. So a shame they've got quite a lot of missing information there, which they could have benefited from. Okay, let's just take another one. Let's take this one here, the flower rooms. So so they've gone for products, and this is really good. So you can learn. So by clicking on other people's, you suddenly see, well, they're doing something I don't do. And look at these lovely photos as well. So they've really given a bit of thought into how they present that. Let's just click on a product shoe and see how that comes out. It's a pretty pink hand. Well, that would then take us to, let's see. No, it doesn't. I thought it would open up somewhere. Just try one more. No, so it's just literally just showing the products themselves. Let's go view all. So this is live and random, so you don't know really what's going to happen, but this is how we're going to learn. So nothing's going to happen there at all. Okay, good, or not so good. So they've had a couple of bad reviews, but mostly good. Are they replying to their reviews? Let's have a look. So no, they haven't replied, I don't think. Let's look at more Google reviews. Okay, so there's something they could do. They could, they've responded here. Thank you for the feedback. But they've got a few since then, 10 months, 6 days ago. So again, responding to reviews is a really important thing. This is great. They've even got the person to submit a photo, and that counts quite heavily in Google's understanding. And also you notice how they're picking up on keywords. If I click delivery, then the ones that mention delivery are there, click emails, and so on. So again, when you speak to someone who's writing a review, if they say, oh, is there anything in particular you want me to put in the review? So like, ignored my emails. Absolute joke, not answering phone, all my emails. So actually that isn't positive. You want some people saying how good they were at responding at emails. So look at all the 1-star reviews. They're not good communicators, and yet they got 4.2 stars. So they could improve on that, and maybe they should be responding. Well, they have responded actually about a technical error. So that's good to see as well. So reviews are important, and making sure we respond to them is important too. But in that case, they've done what they can, I think, under the circumstances as well. So should we take one more just briefly? So we've got Vickers Florist in Leicester, and there's nothing really outstanding here. Just see if there's anything there. It's all pretty straightforward stuff. Okay, I think we'll leave it there. Let's come out of Leicester and let's just go somewhere else totally random. So let's go for Bristol. So we'll go Bristol. So we'll do 5 of these. So I'm going to go for, let's go for an opticians. Bristol opticians. So we've got a couple of adverts. I just wonder whether there's only 2 ever allowed, because there only seems to be 2. So that's interesting. Obviously Specsavers is a big company here. These have got a lot of the same. So that looks, so we've got that, and then that and that. Oh, okay, so they're the adverts, and then it looks like, so let's go, so 1, 2, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 2. Okay, so Ace and Tate with 4.8 reviews are Ace and Tate. Okay, so they're covering their backs. So they're clearly getting a lot of benefit from appearing in the top results, but they're not in the top. So to get in the top, they're now paying to get in the top. So that's interesting how, and is this the same with Vision Express? So they're 4513 and Vision Express 4513. Okay, oh, that's a different phone number though. So they're trying it from 2 different ends as well. Very good. And then we got Vision Express again, 4513. Okay, so this then becomes interesting because, okay, so they've got a double here. So you've got Vision Express Opticians, and then you've got Vision Express Opticians, and they're in the Mall at Cribbs Causeway, and they've then put, so this is actually now, so I'm not going to kind of do a legal, I'm not going to suggest this is illegal because I don't know the situation, because it may be two different shops. But these are the types of things where if you suddenly see, say you're a competitor, say you were Ace and Tate and you're doing everything above board, and then you see someone's got more than one business and it's the same address and it's the same information, but they've changed the telephone number to try and change that, then this is what some people do. And I'm not saying that I would do this, but you can suggest an edit, and you can actually suggest that to Google this is a double, which you're not allowed to have doubles on that, because in effect they're having in effect like two entries, and Google allows two entries, but you have to pay for it, which they're doing as well. So that's interesting. So I think on that basis you can suggest an edit, and then you can then say that you think that this is actually a double entry, which is breaking Google's rules. So there you go, that's interesting. I'm not going to say you should do that. My suggestion is, if you are Vision Express, or we know them, that you should be aware that Google will clamp down on that, and understandably so, because it's not really fair if you've got other independent opticians trying to compete against you and they're just following the rules and they've got, say, one entry. Is it right that you should have two or three? So yeah, so something really to bear in mind. So it looks like these ones here are genuinely here, but you want to obviously compete against people fair and square. And so yeah, Boots Opticians. So yeah, it looks like they're really having a Vision Express are really going for it there. They've got someone, or they've got some SEO company to try and maximise how many times they get an entry, which is a little bit against the rules. But anyway, I'm going to move on, and some good photography going on here, so that's nice. And notice here they've used question and answers, so this is good. So they've used a question and answer, is this a misspelling, and they've answered the questions there. They've got 12 reviews, so that's important, and they filled out suggest and edit, own this business. So that's strange that, so this must be a question and answer from someone else putting it in. And yet, yeah, so it looks like they've not actually responded because they haven't claimed. Yeah, so here's a business that hasn't been claimed. So if you are living at 77 Queens Road and you own Goatman and Bat Ham, then you need to claim this business, and then you can respond to these, and you've got quite a good entry there. So something to consider going forward. Good. So that's Bristol Opticians. Let's do two quick more ones. So I'm going to look for, let's come right out and let's go for London. Okay, so I'll go for London, and the business will be jewellers. So London Jewellers, what comes up here? So they've got no adverts for London Jewellers. That's interesting. And notice this is quite a different layout, isn't it? So this is quite different. A lot less information here. Okay, so what am I noticing in these places? Just clicking around. Okay, so we've got products here. So this is again something that you should do, and explore categories as well. So you've got different categories to go, but that doesn't lead me to anything when I click on it. So that's a bit strange why that does that. Okay, but they've got some good photos as well, and again I would suggest that they respond to these if they can. So they're awful rude man serving a few weeks ago, so but on the whole they get 4.2. Okay, let's try here. So we've got a necklace, and again suggesting edits, and they do respond, which is good. And also this is good that they've got some information, some updates, some descriptions and so on, so all that's important. Very good. So, and they get a good review, 4.7 as well. Let's just go to the very top one then. So how's this top? What are they doing? So they've got 62 reviews, 4.8, which is considered a very realistic. They are, this is number one because London Jewellers. So actually, am I spelling jewellers wrong? It's a double L, isn't it? So there you go, I can't spell. So let's just put that in, see if that makes any difference. So now, okay, there you go. So that was totally me. Now it comes up with all the adverts and so on. And we see, yeah, that makes more sense. Good. Okay, and again, they're responding, so that's good. So you notice in all these things that that I'm going through, and I'm going to go through a bit quicker now, you just notice that responses is important, filling in all the facts is important, having products if you can is important, making sure you've got your times in there, making sure you've got all the details. Again, they're using some nice keywords in the entrance here, Hatton Garden, getting good reviews, and making sure that even social can make a big difference as well to how you're appearing. So if you go to the number one, which is here, why is it so popular? Because they've given London and jewellers as part of their entrance to their business name. Now, I would say again, this is a little bit against what Google suggests, that are they known as Boodles or are they known as Boodles Jewellers Bond Street London? And they could argue it both ways. If I go to their website, let's just see, it's Boodles. And I think if, again, and I wouldn't do this because it's Boodles Bond Street, but if they were reported, then there's a good chance that Google will take this down or just accept it as Boodles. And they're doing this, it's just to optimize it because they want to be number one, and they will get a lot of entries because those two keywords are part of their title. And that's not really in keeping with the fact it's not called Borders Jewellers Bond Street London. If it was, then that should be part of their logo, which it isn't. Boodles here, but there you go. So I think they're taking the liberty at the moment, and Google's trying to cut down on this, and so that's something to just learn from, and something that I'm sure over time you'll see a lot of people losing those types of entries. So I'm not going to report it, but it will catch up with them at some point. Right, we'll take Brighton as the final one. So we're going to go Brighton, and what type of business should we have in Brighton? Let's go for architects. That's something quite different. So I spelled that right this time, hopefully I have. Okay, so Brighton Architects, what have we got here then? So Domain Architects Limited, so some nice images, some drawings they've done, everything's entered in correctly, some nice 10 reviews, not responding, but nice that they're getting a photo from the clients, and that's always helpful as well. So they could improve. They've got no social media entrance, they haven't got a lot of reviews, but they're coming up because they've got the word architects, and that's really helping them. Architects, architecture, architects, Brighton. So there you go. These are why these are all number one, really, because they've got architects written in their title. So chalk architecture. So is that actually what it's called? Let's see. Yes, it is. Chalk architecture. Excellent. So they've managed to find the way to do that. That's good. Let's just take another random one. So this is great, some really nice photos here, but these must be clients' photos because managers listing. So if I click on that, verified to edit, information, respond to views and posts. So do you work here? So basically you've got to still claim that. Very good, but you've got some good services here. So, and again, you've got some profiles. So it sounds to me like that could be a really good entrance to pick up if that's your business. Let's just take this one as well. Again, similar, but this is owned because it says suggest and edit, and you've got some information here, which is good as well. But no reviews, so that'd be worth getting some reviews on here. In a similar way, this has no reviews either, which we just looked at a minute ago. So what? So overall, then, hopefully that's given you an idea of how there are certain things you can do depending on how you enter it. There's a lot of businesses still to be claimed. There's a lot of businesses out there that are getting ahead because they're using the keywords to get ahead. And Google at the moment hasn't worked out quite how to stop that happening, even though it's breaking their rules. Some have got some double entries in there, we saw as well. So The only way really for these things to be found out is I think Google at the moment is relying on people reporting it, and not that I'm going to encourage that, but at the same time I do think that everyone should play by the same rules. If you are a decent, honest business, then you should be rewarded for the efforts you put in. And if people are using 3 or 4 entries and dishonestly giving their title, a name including the keywords of the area that's not really what their company's called, registered, and they're doing that and getting away with it at the moment, I believe that Google is soon going to catch up with them. So that's my my kind of review, and hopefully that's been useful. And I'll probably do, if you found this useful, or if there's particularly want me to look at an area. So if you want me to look at a particular area in your country, or you want me to look at a particular business, then put it down below in the comments. Make sure you subscribe, because on another version of this, I'll then pick the ones that you put in the comments below. So thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you again soon.